But now we're gonna go to the next session of our live stream, which is about rapping. Everyone is the $1 million questions. Why did Andre? Why didn't he release the rap album and release that instead? And he talks about this in both interviews, and it's very interesting. So we're gonna go to this more philosophical side of our live stream, which also is a great part of what we do in ASM. So about rapping.
You've said, I think, that you at one point felt disconnected from rap.
Yeah, only because there's so much happening right now, and you don't get the rap calls like, "Hey, jump on this beat," or and you have to be doing something to be a rapper. You got to be rapping.
Yeah,
I haven't been rapping. Like, I don't hang around the studio. I don't sit and try to rap every day. So it's just not even a lifestyle. Like when I was younger, and that's all I did when I was younger, and especially like starting out ground zero at the dungeon, like we lived in the studio.
Yeah.
Like we woke up on the floor, got up, went downstairs, may not even brush your teeth yet, and started rapping.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, that's what you do, which I miss those times a lot, but it's like life changes, life moves on, and we've all explored. We all just keep going,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think if you're a creative person, you have to find new ways to create, right?
Yes. New ways to keep yourself inspired and other people inspired. That's it.
Do you see yourself as having a creative cycle?
Yeah, I think you have seasons, just like anything else. Like sometimes I feel like really on it. Then sometimes I feel like horrible, like, nothing is happening. Then I'll get a surge, and then you're like praising, like, yeah, I got a surge. And then you kind of feeling like the worst person in the world sometimes. But it's hard, like when you in that valley, it don't feel good.
No.
Yeah, you gotta, but you always know when you're gonna climb up, so.
So are you telling yourself that while you're in the valley?
Yeah, I am, but I'm not really listening, because when you're in the valley, you don't want to hear that.
You think of yourself as an artist, not a performer or an entertainer?
Man, these days, I don't even know.
You don't?
I don't know what you call it, I'm a responder,
Yeah.
I'm responding to things I'm doing. I'm responding to things that's coming to me. Sometimes I don't even know if I can deserve to be called an artist, Like, I look at other artists, I'm like, whoa, these are artists,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I play flutes, but I'm not a flautist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just responding and trying to figure out the best way to display and give value to wherever I am right now. That's really what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
How can I give value to people around me?
How humble he is in saying, I don't know what I am, what I'm striving to be. Too often people put labels on us, and, we respond to those labels, or we don't respond to the labels that are given not only to who we are, but also to the music that we create. What a humble brother he is. I'm really, I'm so impressed by that, because everybody doesn't have that humility that he expresses, that he just expressed now. He said, well, I don't know if I'm an artist or what, I don't know, what do you call me,
All right, this second video, it says something very interesting about talent, brother. So I really want to talk about it, but just pay attention in this part, because I think it's very interesting what he says, and we can talk about many things. But let's watch it first.
Are you apprehensive?
Very, very, very apprehensive.
Do you feel like that played into decisions you made about Outkast too?
I think just in general, when it came to figuring out what we would do creatively and where my creative juice is coming from within Outkast, like there was a certain point where I just didn't know where else to go. I didn't, like, even now, like, people think, oh man, he's just sitting on raps, or like he's just holding holding these raps hostage. Like, I ain't got no raps like that. Like, it actually feels, sometimes it feels inauthentic for me to rap because I don't have anything to talk about in that way. Like, I'm 48 years old, and not to say that age is a thing that dictates what you rap about, but in a way it does. And like, the things that happen in my life, like, what do you talk, like, I gotta go get a colonoscopy, like, what do you, like, what do you rap about? You know what I mean? Like, my eyesight is going bad, like.
But you're not just any rapper. Like, you're a top 5, to many people. To me, it's like you're basically being like, I have a very beautiful sports car in the garage, but I choose never to drive it, which is your talent.
Talent is one thing, but honestly, I think timing and momentum is more important than talent and the energy of it. Like, talent, it's a lot of people with talent. And we're seeing that now. Like, there's so many dope people on the internet, like, that are just raw, but it's your timing, is what you're talking about, is if you're catching the zeitgeist of what's happening in the world. And like, my goal is I want to connect. I'm not talking about nothing that I can't connect with in it.
Have you tried?
It's no use. Yeah, I try all the time. Like, I'm open to producers now, like the young producers, and I get beats all the time. Like, and people send me songs, like, to get on remixes and stuff like that, but I don't be knowing what to talk about most of the time,
Do you think that's about expectations or lack of self-belief? Like, where do you think that comes from?
Like, I think you're your best and worst critic, and I only work on feeling. Feeling is my only barometer of what I'm doing. Like, I don't feel like I'm the best rapper. I don't feel like I'm the best producer. I don't feel like I'm the best singer, actor, none of that. It's just, for me, my gauge is feeling. And that's always been that way, even within Outkast. Like, if it felt right, I ain't care what other people thought. If it felt right, it was like, I ain't gonna argue with what it feel like. And if it don't feel right to me, which it hasn't in a while, like when it comes to rapping or vocal, type of music, I don't do it. The song is more important. The music is more important.
I was looking at.
So, hold your thoughts for a while, brother, because now I would like you to show this little excerpt from the poem that I mentioned earlier. Is that okay?
Yes, do that now. Yes.
So I'm going to show just a little part of this poem because it's huge, and it's from a Portuguese poet called Fernando Pessoa. And the name of the poem is the Tobacco Shop, because it's about this guy who is in his attic, or they call him in the translation Garrett, if I'm not mistaken. And he's looking at the street, and he's describing what he's seeing and having reflections on it, and goes to metaphysics and various kinds of subjects, and thinking about his relationship with the tobacco shop because he smokes and so on. But at this part that I selected, he's talking about failure and genius, and I want to connect this with what André 3000 just said about timing and momentum being more important than talent. And it's basically the same feeling. So it goes, I failed in everything. Since I had no ambition, perhaps I failed in nothing. I left the education I was given, climbing down from the window at the back of the house. I went to the country with big plans, but all I found was grass and trees. And when there were people, they were just like the others. I stepped back from the window and sitting in a chair. What should I think about? How should I know what I'll be? I, who don't know what I am, be what I think, but I think of being so many things. And there are so many who think of being the same thing that we are, that we can't all be it. Genius. At this moment, 100,000 brains are dreaming their geniuses like me. And it may be that history won't remember even one. All of their imagined conquests amounting to so much done. No, I don't believe in me. Insane asylums are full of lunatics with certainties. Am I, who have no certainties, more right or less right? No, not even me. In how many garrets and long garrets of the world are self-convinced genius at this moment dreaming. This just stop a little bit. This self-convinced. I chose this translation because I think it was the one who got closer. The in Portuguese, he says "gênio para si mesmo." It would be something like genius for their selves, genius for itself, or himself, herself. But yeah, self-convinced genius is more or less the meaning. So, in how many garrets and non-garrets of the world are self-convinced geniuses at this moment dreaming? How many lofty and noble and lucid aspirations? Yes, truly lofty and noble and lucid, and perhaps even attainable, will never see the light of day or find a sympathetic ear. The world, the world is for those the world is for those born to conquer it, not for those who dream they can conquer it, even if they're right. I've done more in dreams than Napoleon. And then it goes and so on, but for now, that's all, folks.
Beautiful. I love that, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the whole thing. It's one of my favorite poems of all times, and
Thank you.
But what is your this poem of Fernando Pessoa is very realistic in the meaning that he's going against this romanticized version or vision of what is genius. He doesn't believe in genius at all, or at least he doesn't believe that just because you are a genius, you're gonna be successful. So I want you to talk a little bit about failure, about the genius, talent, and this kind of stuff.
Such a funny and such a fragile term is genius, because that's a term that others give us that I don't think we can be honest and call ourselves that. Some people may see us in that light as being a genius, but does a person who is getting this praise, what do they think of themselves? And that's when humility and different things come up. And it was in that person, that artist, or whatever he chooses to be, he or she chooses to be called. That's very important. I think he has transcended this the label of just being a rap artist. He's transcended that, and he's become more than that, which is what we all choose to do when we enter into this the realm of creativity. Do we want to be known as just this, and which is why we have to be very cautious of labels that others put on us. This is a very serious topic, and it's philosophical also, in the sense that we can't, who are we to believe what others say, because our inspiration comes from above, from the Creator, and we are presenting what comes through us to others, and I think he kind of spoke about that. I can present this, and this is something that I was thinking about. When people talk about playing music, that's a very nebulous thing to say as well, because people play sports, people play cards, people play all kinds of things. They play numbers in certain communities. They play the lottery, whatever. But, what's on a more philosophical level and spiritual level is that we don't play music, we pray music. We pray music. And I think that opens the door to a whole different philosophical and spiritual thought that we can get into with this music. And also, let me say this too, as I see Brother André, playing different flutes, and how he is expressing himself and what's inside of him on these flutes, it also reminds me of the creative power of autodidactism, teaching oneself. You know, you can go into a culture and you can listen to their music. And if you're not from that culture, it's going to be very difficult for you to embrace what that is, because that wasn't your background. But through autodidactism, and if you're open and creative to autodidactism, that means that you can put your own sentiment into whatever instrument that you're playing. And that's very important. Many musicians are autodidactic, and it's, to me, that's one of the highest forms of being a creative artist. You know, a person can learn to read music easily. A person can learn how to interpret, you know, concertos and etudes and different things. But how do you hear something when you pick up a say, you know, a guitar and play the blues? You know, there's no sheet music for that. And that comes through teaching oneself auto.